think it started recording, it seems. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you able to see my screen or not?
Yes, I can see Angular.io screen.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So again, I have switched back to Windows laptop. Let's see, because that was creating a lot of issues. Not issues. It was a delay. So simply we were wasting the time.
Yeah, because of the updated Angular, probably we need to get to.
Okay. So today we'll be covering the remaining topics. Like we last section we covered HTML in templates, interpolation, and binding the syntax and binding the values from UI. The TypeScript to the HTML, like list, user list, or anything. And property binding we saw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and event binding also.
Event
Click
binding
event
also.
that also.
Yeah.
So we were in two-way binding.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start with the two-way binding. Basically, two-way binding, the data transfer from the HTML to a TypeScript and vice versa, back to HTML from TypeScript. Okay, I'll be creating a sample one input text field here. Okay, again I have two components, user and user2, because for today classes we need few multiple components. So for the remaining topics, I'll try maximum to cover this all the topics today. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
So you have time till
today I have a lot of time.
okay, no problem. We'll try to cover this. Okay,
Let
at
me
least
check
the
my
remaining.
calendar once if I have any meetings.
Okay.
No, I don't have any meetings.
Okay, so we'll start from two-way binding and attribute, class, and style bindings and built-in directives. Built-in directives will explain the built-in directives like star ng for star NgSwitch, and there are many. Like we'll be covering few of them, and input variables and NgSwitch directive. We'll cover this a lot of different concept of Angular. Okay. So we'll start a two-way binding. As I explained, the definition of the two-way binding is sometimes we get a requirement, we immediately pass an information from TypeScript to HTML or HTML to a TypeScript. So that is called two-way binding. So now I'll be creating one input box here. Let me try. I remember the syntax or not. Okay, and type is equal to text and ng model. This. So I'll be providing one value to this user name. Okay. And let's see how it works. What it is saying, something is saying can't buy ng. Sorry, this ng model. Okay, to get access of ng, let's see, we will throw error first since it is not a known property of input. That's fine. And here I will be outputting that directly to spam. That will use username. Okay, and here username I'll be creating one public variable here. Public username of type string. Okay, let's see what is there any error or something. So currently there are no error. Okay, I'm running application already. Let's see the output. Something went wrong. We'll see the error. What is saying? Can't find ng model since it is not a known property of input. It is saying trying to access ng model, which is core property, the core directive of Angular. So we won't have access for that ng model. So for that we have to go to app module, and here I need to import a module called forms module. Yes, forms. Otherwise I can type it here. Import forms module from at Angular forms. Okay, because basically we use this two-way binding in terms of forms only, like validation, user read information. That is a purpose. See, now we got rid of this error here, right? So earlier it was showing the red color mark here.
Yeah.
Now it is not showing. Let's see the output now, what it shows. Okay, now I'm able to see the output. So there is no error in the console window here. And I'll just try to type something. Welcome to, see, at the moment I'm typing, you're able to see it's printing in the span element as well. I will
Yeah.
inspect that. Okay, I'll go here and just type. You can just see the span element. See? So it is reading a value from text box, okay, and
Yeah.
assigning to this variable for this here from this variable, and again sending back data to a spam. Correct? It is sending the
Yeah.
data to a span tag. So this is basically called. The data is going from HTML and updating into this variable, and I'm printing back to again HTML.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So it helps whenever we have a forms validation or something. We'll cover that later. Forms directive. The forms creation with forms module using reactive module or normal forms module. But this is a basic funda we have to understand in the NG model. So how it works, because we have here two one curly brace, one the square bracket. So we saw that one event, right? The attaching an event button.
Button on
And
click.
yes, this click and on click button, click me. So I'm invoking this function, click button, and here I'm writing the description, definition of it. Okay, so here we are emitting data from HTML to the TypeScript. This is an event. So we are reading back from this is called event propagation, and the square bucket, we basically, I will show you that in the next topic, how to read this one value from passing from parent to the inside the HTML. Now currently you see I'm explaining each what is the meaning of why we have to use these two brackets. One is square brackets, one is curly, the parenthesis for to emit a data, okay, from
Okay.
HTML, and square bucket is to read a data from other resource to inside HTML. So this is
Okay.
one way binding from HTML to TypeScript, but this I can show a little later. Now if I explain, it will be confusing, so I'll explain that later whenever we have interaction between the this one client child component and the parent component.
Okay.
So is this clear?
Yep.
Okay, so do you have any doubts on this? So what is the mode? So basically whenever, so we receive a response object from a server, okay, so directly we have to bind to the directly to the this one HTML. In that case we will use this NG model. So basically it holds a skeleton data of updated data for which is currently on the screen, which is supposed to be sent to the server. So that we call it as a model of data.
Yeah.
You're aware about this, the modeling?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, the same thing. If you worked on AngularJS, the same concept applies here as well. But earlier in AngularJS, the two-way binding was default. We were not having any control on to convert to one-way binding. One is from HTML to JavaScript to HTML. But here they have given a flexibility which can control the flow from HTML to a TypeScript, TypeScript to HTML. So that is flexibility we have in the Angular 2 plus version.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Now which topic next? This is a two-way data binding. So where it helps basically, as to I told you, right? Whenever you receive a response object from services or any third-party APIs, so there after manipulating, if we want to directly map to a HTML property like span tag, p tag, or any tag, div tag, so in that cases we can use this two-way binding. After manipulation or validation, you need the latest information with proper data. So that data is directly available in your TypeScript as well. That object can be directly sent to a server. So there, the Ng model will help you to maintain the updated information in the both in the TypeScript as well as in the HTML. Now we'll go to the attribute, class, and styling. Okay, there are three ways we can style a HTML here. As I explained earlier, this is different. Which I have given here, user one here, right? Sorry, not user here. So we explained here the different way of styling and this, but this is different here. So we'll get a requirement like to apply styles on conditional way. Like suppose for example, you differentiate even an odd row in the table, and whenever you receive success message, change the text color, and whenever there is an error, change to a red color. So that kind of conditional style apply can be achieved in Angular 2 with three ways. One is with attribute, and second with a class, and third with a style. So I'll explain that. Will be opened by this one. I'll just comment it out. Okay. And here I'll be creating one array object. I mean, one data object, like public. By default it is a public countries. CUNTRIS, and this is an array. And here, okay, name India, and code IN. Okay, this is one object, so I'll be repeating with this other countries. I'll be using this USA, and I'll be using this UK. Okay. Now this is my array, and each is one object. Okay, which has two properties. One is name properties and code property. Name and code. So I'll be displaying this into my list. Okay. I'll go with li. Sorry. Can go one div, and inside that UL tag. UL is a unordered list. Inside that, here I'll be using li tag. Okay. Now I'm repeating this with star NG4. Star NG4 is a built-in directive which will operate on your collections or object. So star is basically to differentiate between the structural directive and the normal directives, which few like a star NG4 and the star NGIF we have. This is called structural directive, and NgSwitch we have like, and NgStyle, and these are the normal directives. The difference between the structural directive and the normal directive is which basically update the structure of an HTML. So that is called structural directive. Now I'm using one of the structural directives called NG4. Now I'm repeating that loop, let country of countries. Okay. Now I'll be repeating that country. I'm using string interpolation here to bind the values of that collection. So country is basically our array object, which is defined here. Okay. Now I'm iterating. You might have used like a for loop or for each, the same kind which we Angular providing in directly in the HTML. Now country is directly of each object which is pointing to the first element of an array, this one. Now I'll use the property country dot name. Okay, let's see the output. See, it is displaying India, United States, and United Kingdom. So let me convert into smaller letter. Okay. See here, if you see this, it has 3 li object, and leave about this content. This is dynamically applied by Angular for its internal purpose. So UL is our main tag, and we have written only one li tag, but this li tag is repeating completely throughout the list of an array. So is this clear?
Yes, Vittal, it's clear.
Okay, now I am here to explain now. Now I need to apply one class which is for only to specific to India, but the rest of the things should be in different color. Okay, now I'll use NgStyle. Okay, NgStyle, and this one I'll use some background color. Background color. Okay, this property should be in single quote. Okay, this is a property, CSS property. You can use any CSS property here, and I'm putting some condition here. Okay, if country is equal to our country.code, because it is easy for me to put a condition inside. Country.code equal to IN. If it is true, then apply color, background color should be red, otherwise green color. I'll use blue here. This is clear. See, I'm applying a CSS property called background color when if country.code is equal to IN, then only I'm applying blue color, otherwise green, or I'll keep as it is. Transparent color. Let's see that. See, it is applied for only for India, and United States and United Kingdom are not getting applied with the CSS properties. You see this, the output you might have seen the style dot. See, it is under the hood of Angular, it is converting into style property. See, basic HTML style property. So they read this. This is one of the directive in the Angular. This is, see, we are using 2 directives here. This is one directive, structural directive, and this is a normal directive. Okay,
Yeah.
so you might have seen a square bracket, correct?
Yeah.
This we are reading data from outside and binding a value here. Square bracket. We are not emitting data from HTML to a TypeScript like this. Here we are not emitting data here, but we are using square bracket. Square bracket means you are reading. You are feeding to HTML. Square bracket always mean for feeding a data to HTML.
Okay.
Okay. This NgStyle is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I want to apply even row, odd row, so shall we try that?
Yeah, but can we try in .css instead of HTML? I want to see how it works if you try it directly in CSS.
Means this one. So currently this is for inline style. So that is one more property we have. So I'll explain that. Okay, I'll be on this. For that, I need to use NgClass. Okay, Now,
Okay, you'll give a class here, and based on that class, you'll call it in SCSS, and then you'll give your
that's
classes.
it. That's it. So I'll be using here a class 1 here, class 1. Okay, I'll remove this and I'll remove this. Here its condition is true, then I'll use class 1. Okay, I'll use only class 1. Okay, if so, I'll write this class 1 inside my, yeah, I think I've written already. Okay, background color. What is that? Blue color.
So basically, you'll not write logic in SCSS. The logic will be there only in HTML. But
Yes,
based
this
on
logic. This is a class I'm defining here. That's it.
okay.
Class I'm defining here. See, things are not applied. So again, it is applied. Otherwise, I'll use different UK. To UK. Okay, I'll explain one more feature here. So now, for my general purpose, so here I'll create a folder called some styles. Okay, and here I'll be creating variables. Variable dot css. Yes, css. Okay, here I'll be creating blue color. Okay, now my color is blue. Okay, and dollar blue color, red color. Okay, red. These are the standard colors which I defined here. Now I'll go to my CSS. Here I can import that. Where is this? This is one level up. I think I have to use at import, it seems. Yes, let's try this. Correct. And this one, yes. Styles, variable CSS. Okay. Now here, blue. What is the variable name? Dollar color blue, right? And here, dollar color red. Let's see whether we are able to success or not. So here I'm created a variables which is globally accessible. Blue color. Oh, sorry, blue color. Okay, and this is red color. Let's see that. So which is not applied. Any error? Okay, let's see what happens. I will kill one time. Let's see. What happened here? Color blue. Dollar we have to use. Correct. I agree. Then come to here. Renamed it blue color. This one. Let me see. Oh, we have used two. Maybe that is the reason. No, then what might be error? We are here, users, and we are going one level up. Okay, and reach the styles folder and variables. May add. I think we needed to add or not. I don't know. Check. That's fine. Let me check in it. Code CSS else. Same, right? See, stylings. Add import and using brand color. That's it. Brand color using like this. Use some variable. Oh, okay. When why I can't use here the values blue color? It's fine.
Probably you need to remove that codes.
I think I need to remove single quotes. No, fine. I think it accepts only hexadecimal values, which I need to clarify. Okay, but anyway, this is how we have to use. So I've declared a variable here. So instead of this blue color RGB hash, okay, and okay, it's coming up, and your color. So you got the usage of this one. I think extension is also not required. Yeah, by default it consider that .scss file. So this
But
concept is
what
clear, right?
will be the use? I mean, if you directly give your color here, or if you define a class and extend it, I mean, it's same way, right? You're not saving any lines of code or anything here.
This is simple way. Now see here, if you have, this is for theming purpose. For example, you have color combination. So it'll be in the branding guideline. We'll be having some 10 colors. Okay. So that colors we can define here in one place. You can use across the any places. If you change the color here, it will reflect in all the files wherever you
Okay.
use. That is one
Yeah,
usage here.
reusability.
Reusability.
Okay.
And other thing, so it has a lot of features. This is one of the feature, and percentage you can see. We'll explain that how to divide. Like suppose for example, you can use as a height purpose, so maximum height. So $max. So we have some calculation, okay, and height some 200 px. Okay, this height of some button or something, okay, and for that also we can use here. Okay, this is one feature, and this variable can be used like this as well. Okay, I'll go to my user. Okay, I have a div here, and that has a class main container. Go to my CSS, land it here. Okay, and here height. Now I will go to this. Suppose you need this div height in a constant with all the place. Now I'll go to this and *2. So I can use a calculation like this. See, now the width for that, I'll make this width 20, and I'll go here and I'll be bordering it, border 1px solid. So I'll use this color for see here the div. So the width of the div should be 400px, right? Main container. See, sorry, 40px height. 20 into 2, 40. Max height is 20 and into 2. So we can use the calculation, any mathematical operations here. See, it is converted to 10px. And we can use the percentage of the color. So suppose for example, border color, okay, background color I'll be using. So height I'm using like this. Background color, just I'm trying it. And max something, you have a color like what is it, red color, and okay, and percentage of some 10. Let's see what happens. What is this red color background color? It is not defined. Red color, which layer is saying background color? It's there, right? What is error? Okay, misspell. Maybe correct. Think just yes, CSS for yes, CSS for color, color opacity. Okay, now we can use this is for color opacity as well. So suppose we have this color and okay, darken, light, and these are the built-in methods. So I can use space color, darken out like this, background color. So this is called as a mixin. Okay, 10% of this color will convert into a darkened color. Let's see the output. See, if you see the color, it not be a red. See background color. So the 10%. This kind of calculation we can do here. Or I can use lighten, right? This is all the built-in method, and we can write our own mixins as well. See, Now it is increased to higher value. Think after that red color we cannot increase the value, so only we have lighten up color. See, this we can increase darkness color. Able to follow me?
Yes, written.
Yeah, this
I
is
am able to.
this is the beauty of CSS. We can explore if you got, because see, adjust height, and it will help to generate what is called the themes, and many things we can do with the SCSS.
Yeah.
What else I'm trying to cover here? Uh, yeah, you can basically maintain the good CSS. You know, right? What is the, I mean, how the pain of maintaining the CSS color in one places?
Yeah.
Colors to constants, width, height, and any unique, I mean, the global styles which we can very, I mean, use across the application and maintain at one place and reflect in all place. What else? Separators, interpolation. You can just explore this site. You will get to know a lot of things by exploring here. Okay.
Okay.
Where built-in directives. Okay, we covered class styling and the this one, right?
Yeah.
NgClass and NgStyle. So NgStyle and NgClass is basically to use colors. I mean, to apply a style conditionally. And suppose, for example, you have a table, so if you want to apply even odd row, so by calculating and something like based on the index, we can do as well that. Shall we do, or shall we continue the different topic?
It's okay. You can continue with the different topic.
Different.
It's just a logic change, right?
Okay, yeah. Now we'll go with this one, attribute styling. So we have like this. Suppose, for example, you have some button. Okay, for this you need to change color like style dot background and color, and get color back GROUND. This is fine. Background color shall be writing a method red color. Okay, now I'll be returning one, writing a method. So suppose, for example, here some return color. I'll be return. Here you cannot read this one SCSS variable. Okay.
Okay.
Return red. Particular styling we can apply on some conditionally with only properties. Applying what? Getting confusion here. Background color, styled, or can you just color? Let's see. And okay. But I did not have a button here. See, returning is a red color. So I am applying only particular properties of that style. So NgStyle you can apply conditionally, and some property of the particular style you can apply by returning Angular method as well as with internally. So we can use three ways. We have three ways to style a property. I mean HTML elements. One is with the property color, I mean with using attribute color, attribute styling, and through NgStyle and through NgClass. So this concept is clear.
Yeah.
Now we'll go with built-in directives. Yeah, we explained built-in directives, right? Star ng for star ng class, and what else we explained? Ng model. It's all the built-in directives only. There are a lot of built-in directives. If you want to explore, you can explore here. Directives. Yeah, attribute directives and the structural directives. I explained earlier, right? So structural directive, we example C star ngF So ng file explain. Suppose you have a how we can explain this. Okay, this button. Okay, now some kind of star and if. So I'm creating a property. Otherwise show hide. Okay, I'll attach a method here. Click method, click event. Okay, and toggle section. Okay, now toggle section. So I'll be use this in the top. I'll use this. Now I'll write a method. This one in my. I'm creating a public variable. One boolean variable like show section of type, or by default LSN false. Okay. Now in this method, this dot toggle section only. I'll make it the variable name toggle. It's showing duplicate identifier. Okay, I'll use that only because I've created a toggle section there. This one method. Okay, now I make it inverse of that. This dot. If it is true, it will be false. If it is false, it is true. Okay, you know this logic, right? Okay, now I'll apply yes star ng if I'll use this one. So if it is a true, then this section will show. If it is a false, this section will not show. Let's see now. Display. I'll remove this star ng countries. I'll remove this class. Otherwise, what? I'll remove this main content class. Things are getting confusion. Yeah. Okay. Click on button. What's happening? Nothing happening. Console error, anything. So we go to source. Let me refresh. What is the file name? User component. User component. Okay, I'll put a debugger here. Just see why it is not triggering. I think I have not called this method on click event. Yeah, I haven't called. I have called. Let's see. Put a debugger. Okay. Oh, yes, I got. Should be show section. Section. Okay. Now it will work. Okay. Now I've click. Still. What is the value? Show section. Let again put a debugger. Let's see what happens. False. And it should be true, right?
Yeah.
This section should hide. Arey yaar, I'm getting confusion here. It should be show section. Should be show section. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, now it will work for sure. Okay, now it is by default false, right? So it is not able to see. Now if I click, it will show. Right? Okay. And if you use star ngf, I think it will remove from the DOM as well, it seems. Let's see. What is the main content, right? Where we kept condition div. Was a div here? This one, right? Yeah, this entire div. I think it will remove from elements. Go to elements. Yes, it is removed from the DOM. You're able to see this content, correct?
Yeah.
It will be completely removed from the DOM. In Angular 1, we were having two options. Like you know about the difference between the visibility and the display, right? Display is
Yes, yes.
completely removed from the DOM. So the
Yeah.
same thing is happening here. Visibility is just hide from the DOM, correct?
Yeah.
But that element will be available. But here it is completely removing from the DOM. So this is one of the directive to show and hide. But this in maximum condition will use this only star and if to show the content based on some condition or to hide something from based on some condition.
Okay.
So we covered a lot of directives here, right? Star ng,
Yeah.
ng style, ng for. These are built-in directives. Means basically directives are nothing but like which are completely written in Angular libraries, which we can use for our purposes. And you can explore here many things like star ngf and NgSwitch. NgSwitch is basically we can show the conditions based on some section. We have three sections. I'll explain that later. Directives, ngf case study, and remove rather than hide. And what else? Star is surely the notice of star is prefix to directive name, and it is for structural directive. Is basically updating HTML content. What else? Maximum, in maximum case we use only all these things: a star ng for, and NgClass, NgStyle, and NgSwitch we use. I'll explain that. What else? Ng template is basically to render a template inside HTML on some condition. What else? Nothing much. Only these are the directives. We can you'll get to know if you start exploring on Angular on your own, right? So what is the difference between structural directive and what are the built-in? I mean, basically day-to-day life, we are only use star ng for, star ng if, ng styling, that's all.
And
Okay.
you are telling something about that square braces, right? Like when you want to put something into HTML, then we use the square brace, or what exactly?
Yeah, I'll explain that later. It is here. It is here. It is coming up like in here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the built-in directive is over, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, template input variables, template reference variable, and template input variable. Okay. This and this one both are same. Okay. Template input variable and this one. I'll explain now. We'll come to that point. Okay. Now you have two components here. User2. Here I'll create one more new component because it's already confusing here, right? User2 and user1. Okay. Now I will create a new component like parent. I'll kill it. I don't know why I'm not able to kill this session. Yeah. Okay. Here. Simple app. Okay. Now I'm creating a new component. Okay. Basically, I'm trying to explain here the parent and child component communication using input and output properties. Okay. NgGC parent. Okay. It's created. Now I'm creating child. Inside that, I'm creating a child here. Okay. You see now it has created two components. You able to see?
Yes. I
Okay.
can see the
Parent and
child.
okay. This is how we can create child and means if you need a component nested with that, you have to use the relative path here like this.
Okay.
Now I'll close this. Now I will inside my parent, I will call my child component. Okay. This is parent. Okay, let it be like this, and I'll call my child app child. Okay, now let's see. I have called, and after that I am using in my app component. I'm calling parent component, or not here. Okay, I'll use app component here. App parent. I'll use some HR tab. Okay. Some differentiate to give some horizontal space. Let's see how I'm able to see that. Okay, I'm able to see here. Able to see, right? If you see now, the structure would be like this: app parent, and within that app child.
Yeah.
Now I need to pass a data from parent to child component. Okay, so inside my child component, I'll go to my HTML component. Okay, here I'm creating add input. Okay, and data. What is the syntax for this? Think like this. Data. Correct. Add input has to be import from Angular core library. Okay, and data is a public variable. So this data, I'll go to my parent component. Okay, now I will use a square bracket here. I'm passing a data to this component. Okay, and here I'm creating some public variable, return data. What is called? Some users, list of users. So this is an array, and I'll be creating like this: name user1. Okay, and its ID something like 112. Okay, now we'll use one more. User2. ID should be 313. Okay, now sorry, this I should not use in the object. Now this is my local property, local variable of the parent component, correct? And I'm passing this to my child component. I'll go to the parent component HTML. Here I have injected my app child component, and I'm passing like this directly. So now I'll go to my app child. Here on ng on init, I can get the data. Console.log data is equal to this dot data. I can refer like this. Let's see the output. Can't bind data since it is not a known property of app child. What is that? Ng, that's fine. This property of created input, correct? Ng on init. Where it is showing error. Okay, app child. This module it is not imported here. It's not imported, right? Child component or parent component. Then let me kill this and rerun again. I'm basically trying to pass data from parent component to child component now. this changes, ng on changes. I'll explain this. Ng on change one more life cycle, but we have a separate section for Ng. I mean to discuss with life cycle. As of now, just trying to remember. Ng on change, on init, on change are the different life cycle. Means these are method which will execute on different instances of the life cycle of the component.
Yeah, it's not only Angular specific, right? So yeah.
See, now I'm able to read. Because whenever we are dealing with input output properties of a component, okay, now if I'm reading a value from external component to an internal component, for the local component, I have to get that at an ng on changes, not on the ng on init. Ng on init, basically at the moment you inject this component inside a parent component here, right? At that time, that ng on init method get trigger. See, I'll put a console there. Which one will get executed? You can see first. Console. Okay. First. Sorry, ng on init. And here, console.log. Sorry. This is very important. Okay, you'll get a lot of issues in this one if you're not understand properly this. What is ng on changes, when you have to use it, when not to use. Okay, this is very crucial things in the Angular.
Okay.
Let's see. First, constructor is executed. Okay, always. I mean ng on it executed first. After that, ng on changes. So this is I mean sequence of the method which executes. So ng on init will fire when the component is getting injected or initialized for the first time. It will execute only only one time. Okay, but ng on changes will keep on executing whenever there is a data changes in the outside of that component, or if you receive a latest data, or if the data is changed, and that time ng on changes every time it will get invoked.
Okay.
Okay, now I can use this data for my any purpose. So here I have a data here in the parent component. Okay, but I'm sending back to my child component. How? See, this is a way. I'm using a square bracket. This is the local variable component name which is defined as an input here. Okay, and here list of users is the local property of this component, parent component, and how I'm reading it here as an input and reading it like this. So is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we need to pass some data from child component to parent component. That is called event emitter.
Okay.
Okay,
Now you're like, I mean, you are passing data from parent to child. Now you are going to do the other way around.
Yes, other way around. Now for that we have to use event emitter. Like I think we have to create here output property. Let's see. I'm trying. I think.
But when exactly this parent-child concept will be used?
You use lot of feature in application, day-to-day application. This is a core feature because if you keep on developing application, I mean with enterprise application, huge application, right? In that case, you have to build lot of parent-child component. Suppose for example, you have this section, right? This section, right side section. For example, I'll show you that. I mean for a real-time example, where. Okay. Here. Okay, now this is left side component. Okay, left navigation, and this is a right side component, right component, and but it has one parent component. Okay, this upper layer. Let's just I'm giving example. Okay, this is your parent component. Okay, but if you want to pass data from this left side content to a right side content, how? Currently this is you have to pass to a parent first, and after parent you have to pass like this. So this is one way. Okay, I mean, one of the way to pass a data from a parent to a sibling component. There are a lot of combinations and permutation combinations will come. So you have to
Okay.
pass from sibling components. Like for example, if you have one more child here, okay, how to pass the data? So for that you have to use a service.
Yeah.
This is a easiest combination. I mean, a simple combination where you can pass like this. But if you have a siblings component or you have this is one module, okay, you'll be getting a scenario from pass a data from one module to another module. Okay, this is only one module we have now here. So for that we have to use a shared module for that.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm explaining here the how to pass data from child to parent. Let's see, I'll try. I forgot this. Let me try. Let me output. Okay. Export data. Okay. Now I think understand export data. For that, I think I have to use for this event emitter, I guess. Let's see. Mm, output. Okay, now I'll be creating, sorry, the child component I'm creating on button. Okay. Export to parent. Okay, now I'll be click send data to parent. Copy this and here. Now this dot let me wait. Okay, I'll try to create export data, but public this dot export data dot next or emit. You have to use emit and you can pass a data. Key and some value. Okay. I think what is this error? I'm going to type string is not a assigned of type parameter string. Okay, because as of now we'll pass simple string value. Okay, now export data. Now I need to get this into a parent here. Okay, for that I think yes, I need to declare here, it seems correct. Yes. Not export data. In the parent component add output. Output receive data. Okay. For that I need to receive spelling code. I see. Receive data that have to provide. Think here it seems. Okay. Now no. Think how to provide and the child component. Export data is here. I got this data. Need to export it. Okay. But how I can export this? Think. Just I'm recalling. Okay.
Yeah.
The better way for this. So I want click event. I'm exporting this data. Now I'll go to child component, sorry, parent component. Okay, now I need to event, see what happens. So it's not a receive data, it's something. But how could I know this? Export data should be output or what? I think it will be readable here. Let's see, I'll try. I think this is export data, that's fine. I'll come to my child, sorry, parent component. Okay, type it here, export data, and this is my method. Let's see here in this one. I think I'll receive like this. Data. I think receive data itself is this, it seems. Okay, correct. And read data. Okay, now I'll go here, read data, console.log data from child. This is data. Let's see, able to success or not, and this not can't resolve, something different error. I'll kill it first. Go to again, cd sample app, NgSwitch. What is error? Not able to get. I'm doing here. Node models. This can't resolve this. Not understand what is this related to error. I think I've done something wrong here. Oh, sorry. Should not use this here. This is event emitter. Oh, I have to use this mostly for the reason. Because at the moment you write, I'm trying to export automatically. So it is imported from the different library, which you should not use here. I think now, yeah. Export to parent. Click event is not happening. Is it happening? Console.log. Clicked. Itself clicked. Okay. Exported this, and here come to this. Oh, sorry, I didn't do this. But not passing data. I think we have to use that in the child component other than this. I think yes. It happened. Okay. So here something. This dot receive send data. Okay, now I'll go to my parent. This is exported and yes, but why it is undefined? Okay, maybe I need to receive as a event here. I think yes, now it will work. See, I'm able to get the data. So it's confused, right, for you?
Yeah, a bit of. It's like.
Okay, I will explain now. Okay. Input is easy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have a child component here. Okay. And I need to pass data from child here from this one child component to parent component. Correct.
Yes.
This is one
Yes.
level up. One level up.
Yes.
So how we build the relation between here and in the parent component. This is a parent component, right? Parent this
Yes.
one. And I'm imported here the app child component means this is a child component and this is a parent component. This is hierarchy. So
Yes.
we have built here using HTML. Okay, I mean this is a way we can inject one component inside one component, but we need data from child component or parent component. In child component, what I have done, I have created a variable. Okay, one simple variable. Okay, of type at output. This is my output variable of type event emitter. Means it emits an event and subscribes in another component. So this syntax you have to use.
Okay.
At output is a variable which we can use there, and event emitter means this is a purpose to emit a data from a child component to a different component or a parent component. We have a lot of event emitter is there, and RxJS it exposes few other methods which we can pass a data, but as of now you can remember event emitter is one of the way we can pass data from child component to parent component. Okay, now export dot data, this emits is because I am creating an instance of the event emitter class and assigning back to this one. This is creating an object of that class. Okay, if you explore this event emitter, how it works, you can explore this library, or you can just search in net what is event emitter. If you go to this, the here event emitter. Use in command with the at output directive. See, this is how we have to use it. We have to emit custom events synchronously or asynchronously and register handlers for those events by subscribing to instance. This is how we have to use it. Okay, now I have created a variable of that output type. Okay, and assigning that value with object of event emitter class. Okay, just this is standard syntax for emitting data from child component parent component. Okay, now this is a method, this dot export data dot emit. I'm emitting data when on click of this method, this button. Okay, now I'll go to my parent component. Here I'm subscribing it. This is that output variable name. Whenever the data is emitted, I need to capture on one method. So this is a method, and it accepts that. I mean, it holds that value which is committed from sending from that data, that component, and we received it here. This is a method. This is a method, custom method, local method. You can use any method here.
Yeah.
Okay, that is your the same method. On click event is fire, but it accepts a standard variable as an argument to that method. That is event, which holds the value which is coming from the child component.
Okay. And you have to always use dollar event only, or
I
because
think
it's
yes. Let's see. I think you have to. I think you have to use the dollar only. No, we are not coming. We have to use dollar always.
so dollar
Because,
something or only dollar event.
I think you have to use dollar event only directly. I think we're not able to use any other name, so it will not allow, because that is a standard argument which is written in Angular. So basically to differentiate our custom arguments with other arguments.
Okay.
So they used this standard variable.
Okay.
Is this clear?
Yeah.
You can you try on your own, like build a relationship between like this, and try to pass a data from anything like this. You can pass any data here, okay? Not a string and not a variable. You can pass any data, and you can read any data here.
Yeah. Okay.
So next template. So I think you can cover later. If you explain, it will be confusing for you. Okay.
Yeah, this is
So
already
why?
more. So, but
So
yeah,
why?
I can make time from today on the free,
Okay.
so that is fine.
Okay. So why I'm not going to extend in the 2 or 3 hours means if I explain all the concept in one shot,
It
right?
will
It's
be very
very
confusing
difficult.
and it
Yeah,
will
that
be
is the reason.
overwhelming also.
Yeah, it has to be day by day only.
Yeah.
So today we have covered event binding, two-way binding, attribute class, custom directives. Sorry, we have not covered custom directives yet. Built-in directives we have covered. In built-in directives, there are two types, structural and non-structural, and the template input variables. And NgSwitch is also a directive, which we can explain it later tomorrow. And we have covered
Switch
main.
is just like if and for, right?
Yeah, same thing like that only.
Okay.
And NgSwitch is basically have a set of span tags, okay, under the div. So whenever that condition met, like same thing, we use the switch statement in the code, right? JavaScript. Same thing, it will be in the HTML side.
Okay. Yep.
Whenever that condition met, that the condition of the block of the code will display to the user.
Yeah. Also here we are writing all the logic in HTML only, most of the logic.
Yes, because this is one of the beauty of the Angular. So basically, all the maximum logic can be written in the HTML, which is very related to the UI on what when you have to show, when you have to hide.
Then this one is not like MVC.
This is not like this. There is no controller here, and everything is on the model view model. That's it.
View model concept only.
Yes. MOV VM. This is.
Yeah. Okay.
And pipe will cover later, and temp. I'll explain this tomorrow. This one, reference variables, pipe, and template expressions variables on tomorrow. Okay. And remaining thing is we already covered the safe navigation operator, correct? Ternary operator.
Yeah, ternary operator, yes.
And model we also have covered in the previous class using TypeScript interface that to define the custom variables of user model or all things. Okay, and tomorrow only we have left with pipe and to local reference variable and a few other things. I'll get able to remember the different directives and I'll explain that. Okay. Meanwhile you can try on your own. If you get any doubt, please list down that and we'll discuss that in the next class.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Shall we close now?
Yeah. Yes, please. We'll close now for the day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.